The lawyer's voice didn't shake. He read her will like it was just another Tuesday. To my son Zach, the house and all financial assets. To my daughter Emily, my gratitude. And to Max, my Yorkshire Terrier, I bequeath $85,000. For a second, the room froze. I laughed, because surely, this was some kind of dark joke. But Zach's smug grin told me it wasn't, and what I uncovered next would burn through every lie my family ever told. But what happened next will shock even those who thought they'd seen everything. But first, let's go back to the beginning. The moment Mom's knees buckled and she fell into my arms, right there between the hydrangea centerpieces and white linen napkins, time fractured. 1 second, we were tasting champagne and fussing over candle heights. The next, the air thickened, every sound muffled, like the universe had sucked in a breath it never let out. Her fingers clutched my arm weakly as I screamed for someone to call 911, but her eyes, God, her eyes. They looked past me like she already knew what was coming, like she'd been hiding this from all of us. At the hospital, the sterile white corridors stretched like a purgatory of false hope. The cardiologist's voice was a practiced blend of clinical and cold. Severe mitral valve regurgitation. Dangerous. Urgent. Fixable, but only with an operation priced like a mid-tier house. I remember staring at the number on the quote, $68,000, and that didn't include the cascade of bills that would follow like leeches. A single surgery with a price tag that felt like punishment for loving someone. Zach didn't flinch, didn't even pause. I'd help, he said, twirling a Cartier ring between his fingers. But my liquidity's tight. Liquidity? As if we were discussing a hedge fund instead of our mother's failing heart. His new Tesla Model X was still wrapped in dealership plastic, parked in valet, and here he was, playing the poor man. So I paid. Every emergency dollar I'd saved over 10 years of careful planning, gone in 3 clicks. My 401k, emptied in one trembling call. My credit, shattered. I remember the bank's fraud alert line calling me, thinking I'd been hacked. I hadn't. I was just saving my mother. But the surgery worked. She lived. And living meant everything shifted. Her recovery was slow, demanding, and brutally lonely. For her and for me. The nights blurred. Alarms at 3 a.m. for meds, holding her hair back while she vomited from pain meds, arguing with insurance reps who asked if she was still eligible for benefits. Zach's contribution? He posted an Instagram photo kissing her on the forehead with a filter that softened her stitches. Caption: Strongest woman I know. #family first. #blessed. He left before her eyes even opened. I should have been furious. But instead I told myself, this is love. Love doesn't keep score. But love, I'd learn, isn't always returned. It was early autumn when she slipped away. Silently, like fog leaving a lake. One breath, then stillness. I was holding her hand. Her fingers had grown fragile, more bone than skin, but I kept holding them long after the monitor stopped. I wanted to believe that somewhere in that final exhale, she knew I was there. That maybe in her last moment, she felt safe. The days that followed moved like wet concrete. Calls to family, arrangements, sympathy cards with generic warmth. I picked out her favorite blue silk for the service. Zach didn't call. He posted a video titled How I Stay Fit While Traveling from the beach in Tulum. I didn't watch it. The will reading took place in a cramped law office with old wood paneling and the smell of lemon polish that couldn't quite mask mildew. The lawyer, a weary man named Graham with eyes like boiled eggs, adjusted his glasses and offered a solemn nod before unfolding the document. I wasn't expecting miracles. Just acknowledgement. A line, a sentence, something that said, Emily, I saw you. I saw what you gave up. Instead, Graham's voice echoed like a slap. To my beloved son Zach, I leave the house and all financial assets. I blinked. To my daughter Emily, my gratitude. My gratitude. 2 words that landed like a tombstone on my chest. And to Max, my Yorkshire Terrier, I bequeath the $85,000 savings account. He brings joy. There was a pause, a beat of disbelief, and I laughed. Not politely, not awkwardly, a sharp, unfiltered burst, because it had to be a joke, a prank, some twisted final act of absurdity. But no one else laughed. Zach didn't even feign surprise. His mouth curled upward with the kind of smugness that doesn't need words. Max, the dog, sat on his lap in a Burberry vest, licking his paw like royalty. 85 grand, earmarked for his kibble and grooming. I couldn't speak. My chest buzzed with something that wasn't quite rage yet, just a high-voltage numbness. The lawyer cleared his throat. It's legal. And binding. I turned to the window, trying to breathe, but the air tasted like betrayal. A savings account I never knew existed. A trust fund for a dog. And my name reduced to 2 hollow words. Gratitude. It was worse than being forgotten. It was being dismissed. As if everything I'd given, everything I'd sacrificed, had been invisible. Or worse, irrelevant. Grief is quiet at first. Then it roars. In my case, it whispered lies that I tried to smother with decaf coffee and late-night walks. But eventually it grew claws, and I let it. I didn't eat, barely slept. My apartment became a war room, sticky notes plastered across walls, financial statements splayed open like autopsy reports. My laptop screen glared at me in the dark, browser tabs stacked in the hundreds. I wasn't just mourning anymore. I was hunting. Appealing the will had gone nowhere. Every letter was signed, every page initialed. The lawyer even showed me a video of Mom cheerfully confirming her decisions, her voice calm, her words clear, her trust in Zach unmistakable. She wasn't drugged. She wasn't confused. She had meant it. That alone should have broken me. But rage is a hell of a preservative, and Zach made it easy. He flaunted his win like a prize fighter, posted a selfie of himself in a glittering watch with Max licking his wrist and the caption, "Max's first bank appointment at Dog Boss." The comments were full of laughing emojis and heart eyes. No one knew what that picture actually represented. They didn't see the inheritance bleeding through the leather strap. They didn't see my mother's silence. But I did, and I kept digging. Phone records, email timestamps, calendar entries from the hospice nurse. One detail rose above the noise like a bloodstain on snow. Zach visited Mom a few weeks before she died. Alone. 3.5 hours. No one else present. That same week, the will was updated. I found the notary, an overworked, underpaid guy named Lewis who looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. At first, he barely remembered her. But when I mentioned Zach, his eyes narrowed. "Yeah," he muttered. "That guy was intense. Real pushy. Kept telling her to stop overthinking things, to trust him, that it was all for the best." Not coercion, not legally, but something darker, something slick. Still, I had nothing concrete, until I got access to the pet trust statements. At first, it all looked legitimate. Dog food deliveries, grooming appointments, a pet therapist. Then came the Venmo line items, $400. Consulting fees, $2,100. Max's new wheels, $750. Mobile dog spa, cash reimbursement. Every payment landed in Zach's personal account. He was stealing from Max, which meant he was stealing from the trust, which meant finally, I had him. The day I walked into that courtroom, I wasn't chasing revenge. I was reclaiming dignity. But revenge, it turns out, is just justice with sharper teeth. My lawyer, Dana Everhart, came recommended by 3 different estate litigators who all said the same thing. She doesn't lose. Dana didn't blink when I laid out the story. She didn't ask why I wanted to pursue it. She only said, "Let's bury him." We filed for breach of fiduciary duty and misappropriation of trust assets. 2 phrases Zach probably didn't even understand until the subpoenas arrived. He tried to laugh it off on Instagram, posted a reel with Max in sunglasses and the caption, "Let the haters hate. We're still cruising." Then the media caught wind of it. Dog's inheritance goes to the dogs, brother under fire for stealing from pet trust. It trended for 3 days. Morning shows debated it. Talk radio dissected the ethics of canine capital. Max became a meme. But the courtroom was where the real stripping happened. Dana tore Zach apart with the precision of a surgeon, exhibit after exhibit, Venmo receipts, doctored invoices, fake spa expenses. The judge, a no-nonsense woman with steel gray eyes, stopped one proceeding to say, "I've seen a lot in my years. But stealing from a dog's inheritance? That's a new low." Zach's smile faltered for the first time in years. The verdict was clear and swift. The house sold at auction. The pet trust placed under a court-appointed trustee. Zach's reputation incinerated in public record. The court awarded me full reimbursement for Mom's surgery and post-op care, plus damages for financial and emotional hardship. It didn't erase the betrayal, but it reset the ledger. I didn't spend the money on myself. Instead, I created the Sharon Matthews Family Care Fund, a grant program for people who, like me, had to choose between love and bankruptcy. The rest of it, I left untouched, a scar in the shape of a bank account. Zach tried to bounce back, of course. He's on TikTok now, pitching crypto scams to teenage boys. The comments flame him. He doesn't delete them. And Max? He sleeps beside me on the couch most nights. His Burberry vest a little worn, a little faded. But he's warm, loyal, and somehow he seems to understand. He used to be Zach's accessory. Now he's mine, and every time he curls up next to me, I think, justice may not bark loud, but when it bites, it leaves a mark.